easy it is to make super delicious smothered pork chop in gravy. This recipe, absolutely amazing. Super simple to make. When you make it Gina Young style, you'll love me for this recipe. Here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need some beautiful pork chops. When I purchase my pork chops, I always get assorted. I'm really not a fan of center cut. Center cut to me are always dry. That's what I get, okay? And so you're gonna need some flour, any kind of flour really, but the kind that I'm using is an all-purpose flour, okay? You're gonna need a nice sweet Vidalia onion, and in my pan I have vegetable oil. Use what kind of oil you want to use for your frying, but I don't suggest using olive oil because as we know, olive oil burns at a high temperature, okay? You gotta serve your smothered pork chops over a nice fluffy bed of rice. So we'll be making rice. And I'm doing something super interesting to my gravy today. I want my gravy to have just a hint of curry flavor, and so I have some curry mix here, mild curry seasoning that will be going into my gravy. That's going to make it taste absolutely spectacular. Okay, and to make the gravy a little darker, we're going to use some kitchen bouquet. Okay, kitchen bouquet does not really have a lot of flavor, but it will make your gravy nice and dark like you want it, okay? And we have paprika, parsley flakes for color, and I have some chicken bouillon powder and some salt and pepper. Just easy ingredients, okay? Make sure that your pork chops have been cleaned off. I clean my pork chops off using lemon juice, salt, and cold water, and then we pat them dry with a paper towel. Make sure your hands are impeccably clean. Let's get started with this delicious recipe, Gina Young style. I hope y'all are having a great day today, and if you're not, hopefully I can brighten up your day with this amazing smothered pork chop recipe that's super simple to make. So after you get your pork chops nice and cleaned off and dried with a paper towel, when you come across the pork steak, I just like to cut it so we can make two, right? So that's what we're gonna do, and there will be a bone in the middle. And then voila, you got two pork chops, right? This is my favorite in the assorted pack, and this one right here. Oh my good, these are lovely pork chops, right? I'm super excited. And they gave me two center cut that I don't prefer. These are the ones that I like to call dry, but we're gonna make them taste good. You hear me? Okay, so I'm super excited. Let's do this one as well. Just like so. Gotta work around that bone and we'll get this nice and cut. I hope y'all had an amazing holiday with your family and friends. I'd love to know, did you do anything special for your holiday? Did you see that special person? I hope everyone had a spectacular holiday. So I'm gonna wash my hands since I touched the raw meat. You never wanna transfer the bacteria from your hands to your spices, okay? So let's go ahead and season up our pork chops. I'm using very simple seasonings for the pork chop. It's just gonna be the salt, the pepper, and the paprika. Paprika is more for color. It's not smoked, okay? If you wanted to use like some onion and garlic powder, absolutely you could. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna put the salt in my hands. I feel like I can distribute it much better versus using that shaker bottle. It's like you can't get it where you want it, right? So we're gonna do it just like this. Beautiful. I love when I get beautiful pork chops, right? I'm not a fan of thin pork chops. I don't want them super thick like this because I ain't stuffing them. But these right here are oh my goodness. I sent my husband to the store to pick these up, and he said, did I do good? I said, you did good. That's what he said, did I do good? You did good, baby. You got some great pork chops. Because I told him, don't be bringing them all skinny pork chops home. He laughed at me. He was so happy that he did well. All right, let's go ahead and get our black pepper on. Gorgeous. You got a good grade of meat. All you really need is salt and pepper. Now, when it comes to our gravy is going to be super flavorful. So it'll make up for the little bit of spices that you'll use today onto your pork chops, all right? Gorgeous. Want to use a little bit of cayenne pepper on here? You bet you could. All right, so we're going to flip these things. We're going to season them on the other side. just like so. And when I come back, I'm going to go ahead and turn this oil on here. In my pan, I don't like to deep fry my pork chops, so I'm not using a ton of oil. The oil is about this high in the pan. We're aiming to get both sides of our pork chops nice, beautiful, golden brown and crispy, but we're not trying to cook it. Once we got that beautiful golden brown color onto both sides of the pork chops, we'll take them out. We'll put the others in and get them, you know, nice and seared off. And then we'll make our gravy. But they continue to cook in your gravy. And that's when we're going to simmer them and smother them. I'm going to go ahead and my water is boiling. Okay. So I've salted my water. Anytime I'm making rice, potatoes, or noodles, you salt the water to give it flavor. Nobody wants bland rice, right? You don't want bland potatoes or noodles. Salt the water and give it some great flavor. So now my water is boiling. We're going to go ahead and put our rice in, and all it needs to do, there's perforated holes in your bag. This is a boil in a bag rice, and the rice will be able to accept the flavor. Somebody had asked me a while back, they said, why you putting salt in the water and your rice is in the bag? I said, because there's little holes, and I wonder if they had like an aha moment. You know, they probably said, aha, you know, they probably did. Okay, so now, we've let this set long enough with our spices. We're going to go ahead and dredge it and get it nice and coated. But it's super important that after you get it nice and dredged, you give it a nice shake off. Shake that excess flour off before it goes into your pan. I'm going to be cooking these pork chops on a medium high. I never cook my pork chop up on super high. I hate when people yank the heat up, right? And don't yank the heat up. Medium high, they'll cook just perfectly. And like I said, right now we're not aiming to fully cook these. We're just aiming to get some nice color on them, and then that residual oil that's left in here and that fond, all those crispy bits that's left in here after frying your pork chops, we're going to use that oil to make a gravy that's going to taste so good. And then you let yours simmer and smother as long as you want. I'm going to continue to flour these just like so. I'll be right back. Let's go ahead and put our pork chops right into the nice hot oil. Okay, give it a nice shake off. This recipe is quick and simple. And you know, here's the thing. Once you get your gravy made and you put your pork chops into the gravy and let it simmer with the lid on, you can just kind of go sit down for a while. All right, that's what's great about it. It comes together so quickly. I'm gonna do 3 pork chops at a time because you don't want to put too many chops in your pan and then your chops begin to steam and they don't get a beautiful crust that they're supposed to. Okay, so just 3, and then we'll do a couple batches, and when I come back, we're gonna get started on this amazing gravy that is super delicious every time. Oh, and guess what? I'm gonna be using some broth, okay? You can decide to use broth or water. When you're making your gravy, I have some beautiful beef broth that I'll be using, but I'll also talk about if you decide to use water, what you can do to make your gravy taste amazing. What I'm looking for, just that nut. You see I'm frying that piece of fat for me. I'm guilty. I'm frying that piece of fat for me. All I'm looking for is this nice sear right here. Literally, I'm getting ready to take them out and just set them on a platter and get started with these here. Okay, let's get that nice sear onto them and start on our gravy. One thing that you'll notice about me is I didn't dredge all of these pork chops when I dredged the others because I feel like when you dredge them all at the same time, if you ain't cooking them, the ones that didn't get fried right away, that flour gets gummy and you don't get the crust that you're looking for, right? I just feel that way. So now that I'm ready to get these nice and fried, we can put our dredge on, okay? That's just what I do. You do not have to do that if you don't want to, okay? Beautiful. I do the same thing with fish. If it ain't about to go in the pan right away, I wait to flour it. Beautiful. And turn my heat back up, okay? And I'm not going to make you guys watch me fry these. So in the next clip, we'll be making amazing gravy, Gina Young style. Before we get started on our gravy, we've got to slice up some nice onions. How many of you love onions in your gravy when you're smothering something? It's a must. It's a must. And you know what? I've even made these smothered pork chops or like smothered steak. And I also would include mushrooms. If you love mushrooms, try to saute some mushrooms with your onions, and when it just mixes with the gravy and whatever meat you're cooking, oh my goodness, it's spectacular. Really it is. All right, so now I'm praying, Lord, please, not today. Not today, Lord. I can feel it already. You know what it is. The daggone onions. My goodness, I love onions, but they don't love my eyes, and my eyes don't love them. Here we go. A whole waterfall happening right now. Daggone it. All right, let's slice them up. Let's get them nice and sliced. I'm going to leave them in these strips as well. And this half of the onion, perfect. I don't need the rest. I got to go wipe my eyes. This batch has been cooked, and we just have it setting aside. But in here, remember I told you we're going to have some oil left. We're going to have that fun, all those crispy bits, all the flavor that the pork has released, all the flavor that was seasoned onto the pork is in this pan. Don't waste it. That's going to give you an amazing gravy. And so what I want to do is I'm going to bring in this bigger pan because I want a lot of gravy because I'm smothering a lot of pork chops, right? This pan won't do it. So I'm going to transfer our beautiful goodness right into this pan, and I'm going to make sure that I get all this stuff out. Oh yeah, let's get all this stuff out, all the good stuff, okay? And then we're going to start making our gravy, and I'm going to show you how super simple it is. Never be afraid to make gravy. My dad showed me how to make gravy at the age of 9 years old, and I never forgot. And it's one of my favorite things to make. Believe it or not, I love making a gravy, just really having that beautiful memory of my dad asking me, which one you want to do? You want to stir the gravy, or you want to pour in the liquid? And I always had the chance to decide, I want to pour, and he'd be stirring. But he would always tell me, once you make your roux, which we're getting ready to do right now, we're going to grab some flour. You do equal parts flour, equal parts oil. I'm going to eyeball mine because I know how much I need, okay? But you can measure yours by all means if you need to. But once your roux is made, you have to let the flour taste cook out, okay, for about 2-3 minutes before adding your liquid. But my dad would say, which one you want to do? You want to pour or you want to stir? And I would choose, and he would say, but one thing that you have to do if you're stirring, while I'm pouring, don't stop stirring, right? And I just learned, and I would watch the seasonings that he would put into his gravy, and then when I got older, I would maybe change up the seasonings, right? Absolutely. Have fun when you're making gravy. Gravy should never be hard to make at all. So once I let this flour cook for a little bit, about 2-3 minutes, we'll come in, put our liquid in, and then I'll show you how I season. Look at that right there. This is our roux, and you can see it's not super thick, but it's thick enough. Now, a lot of times I'll saute my onions ahead of time. If you want a more onion flavored gravy, you can put your onions in raw this way, which is spectacular. Okay, we're going to do that. And now we're going to put our liquid in, okay, which is going to be our beef broth. And I have 32 ounces. I'm going to put the whole beef broth in. And as I am putting it in, naturally, you're going to see it thicken. And in the beginning, you're going to think, oh, no, did I mess it up? No, it's supposed to thicken, right? And you just keep on pouring your liquid until it gets that gravy consistency that you love. It will come together. That gravy is looking spectacular. And during the process that this is simmering, it'll thicken up. And if at any time it thickens up a little too much, just go ahead and add some more liquid. If you don't have the broth, just add some more water and you can thin it right out, no issues. But as long as you kept stirring while you were pouring in the liquid, you'll have no lumps. How I'm gonna season it is using the chicken bouillon powder for great flavor. Okay, I know exactly how much I want to put in, and I'm going to go in nice and heavy, but not too much, with the black pepper. Oh my goodness, girl. And you got to put some dried parsley flakes just to make it nice and pretty. And if you're going to want to make this gravy darker, you're going to use some of that kitchen bouquet that's going to darken up and don't worry, this will thicken up. You're gonna use some of that kitchen bouquet that will darken up your gravy. In the beginning of the video that I told you all, I wanted a hint of curry flavor going through my gravy. We're gonna do that now. You decide how much you would like to use. If you're nuts over curry, you can put a lot in. Watch how much I put in. Just that little bit. My goodness, the perfume. I wish you could smell it right now. And so now we're gonna make our gravy just a little bit darker. I don't want it too dark, but you can see it, that coloring right there. All right, watch this. Make this up. My gravy has this thickened look. That's what I'm looking for. We're gonna go ahead. Oh yeah, let's start putting our chops right in, and we will be putting a lid. If you don't have a lid, just use some foil. Okay, get them nestled right into that gravy, and you're gonna have some of the most delicious smothered pork chops, Gina Young style, that you've ever had, and I'm not right on up. And once it's done, I will be putting a lid on it. I'm gonna come back, you're gonna get that first bite. And guess what I did? Instead of letting this simmer on the stove, I put it in the oven. Y'all, I put this in the oven on 350 for an hour, and I bet you these are fork tender. Listen, and what I'm gonna do to show you how tender they are, I'm using a butter knife when I cut them. That. Oh my goodness, who's ready for smothered pork chops? Look, let's. There's a lot in here. Oh yes, I know you lying. Look at that. Thank you. Enjoyed this video. I just tasted the gravy. You just caught me. If y'all enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you ain't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Tell your family and friends. Tell everyone you know what Gina's doing in this kitchen on a daily basis. Heavenly Father, I thank you on today. Lord, for your love time, your mercy, and your understanding. Let peace be still over our mind. No weapons formed against us shall prosper. Thank you for your hedge of protection in this meal today. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Once again, to my beautiful prayer, let's taste. I'm going to give you that first bite. Make sure I ain't got no bone. Now, I'm using a butter knife, mind you. Cut like butter. Oh my and goodness. All right, it's super hot, but we're going in. Look at this. Oh, that's it. It's so good. Luscious, delicious. The gravy is perfect. Make you some. Enjoy this recipe. Good night.